When playing Mortar and Tactician this league, I noticed a problem. I didn't want to have to use Explosive Shot. Not only is the play pattern kind of irritating, and it also kind of defeats the purpose of a grenade build in the first place, you're also losing valuable DPS by shooting it instead of just tossing out more grenades. So I came up with another setup that I think has a better feel during clearing and a more focused single target DPS. My setup uses the mortar cannons themselves as a detonator, by applying a super short fuse to the explosive grenades attached to them. This allows me to run through the map while maintaining a high degree of survivability, as my totems pin the enemies around me with a very quick explosive grenade explosion shortly after they've been deployed. When a stronger pack or a rare monster pack appear, I throw additional manual gas and voltaic grenades, which are again detonated by my mortar totems. This allows me to do massive single target damage while having a more relaxed clearing setup. The setup goes all in on some absurdly strong setups such as the companion nodes on the tree, and also leveraging a lineage support gem for that companion to maintain uptime, which I'll talk about later. For defense, we use an evasion deflection setup, which along with our pin allows me to clear juice tier 16 abyss maps with relative ease. Some maps I've even done 8 mod tier 16s mostly fine, even with my defensive setup. Alright, so going over this setup in a bit more detail, the first thing I'll go over is my gem setup. So, of course I'm using mortar cannons, and I'm using explosive grenade as the primary grenade. This is pretty well known. Explosive grenade has good damage and good AoE, and the mortar cannons do not aim very well, so using more focused or niche grenades is not particularly useful. You just want the most damage possible, therefore explosive grenade. Multi-shot, payload, self-explanatory. This is where things change a little bit. Short fuse and long fuse. So, my goal is to make the grenades explode quickly, but they don't need to explode like instantly because they need to actually usually travel a little bit as well. So, I have short fuse, which gives 80% less detonation time. So this means this is a 80% less multiplier. So that means you have 20% of your normal detonation time. So this actually overshoots it a bit. The detonation actually feels a little bit too fast, even with the nodes on the tree that increase detonation time. So I also use a long fuse. Long fuse, it's 70% increased. Of course, 80% less is a lot more than 70% increase, because that's how math works, right? This is 1/5. This is times 1.7, right? So we it moves a little bit towards it, and this is a very damage efficient gem, right? So this ends up working out well. I've experimented like how each setup feels, and this setup I found feels the best. Next, I have a companion. So these companions, the nodes on the tree are not fucking okay. We'll talk about it later, but it's just stupid. It's just ridiculous. So I've magnified area. First of all, my companion, this is a dog shit companion. This guy is fucking charging like an idiot, and his only useful aura is really haste. I know there's some setups now, obviously with better auras, but also I heard there's something with like some sort of mob in Act 2. I'm not sure if you can make it a companion or just a specter, but either way, yeah. So this is a big thing right here, a lineage support gem. It basically makes this guy do no damage and take no damage. So he's kind of just fucking around and being an aura bot for me, right? So very useful. It was about 1 divine when I bought it yesterday. So definitely something to look into. Generally speaking, you can put like a couple of points on the tree end to make your companion tankier with some support gems as well. Or make a revive faster if you want. You have mostly uptime anyway, but this is important, I think, as you keep getting into harder content, right? I think it's definitely worth it for the increased damage you get. Wind Dancer, this is an evasion focused build, right? So more evasion, more gooder. We got blind and clarity. I actually have big mana problems on my build. The reason I haven't solved them is because I'm lazy. So you could probably solve them by some like mana suffixes on your wings or something like that. Like many. Oh shit! I sold. Just there's a bunch of ways to solve it. It's just I haven't. I actually could kill tier 4 or max tier Zesht and max tier King of the Mist. I killed them both already, and I killed them both very easily, and it was pretty quick as well. But like like 80% of the way through the fight in both those fights, I ran out of mana. So I didn't show that at the beginning of the video because it would look really awkward for me to just be standing there like an idiot with no mana. So that's why I showed the 100 Splinter one, because the fucking boss dies before I run out of mana. I'm also using Alchemist's Boon for that, just to give me a little bit of flash charges, because I'm using mana flash like an idiot. Like, this is not correct. Like, you should figure out something else for mana, but I'm just too lazy. Like, I haven't really needed it aside from those pinnacle bosses, because the flask is more than enough. And we'll talk about some of the mana cost stuff later as well, with in regard to plus level of gems. Mirage Archer, I have oil grenade socketed into it. So, Mirage Archer is a bit awkward to use. I know there's some sort of tech with it. I haven't really looked into it that much. But oil grenade applies exposure. So you have potent exposure on it to increase that cooldown recovery rate. If I just put another thing in here, probably multi-shot just for more coverage. But overall, this is mostly good. And it's just something that, like, is nice every once in a while, right? Like, sometimes you're in a boss roll, you dodge. It's nice not having to use the oil grenades, because it lets you get out more gas grenades. So, this is our primary single target damage, and, like, our primary input of damage as a player. So, we have just elemental attack damage, Innervate, actually. So, because I'm using so many different grenades, Innervate is very effective because it affects my mortar cannons, my voltaics, my clusters. Like, it's just good for everything. So, when I'm clearing, I use Innervate. But when I want to go into, let's say, if I had a boss, I would replace Innervate with Elemental Focus or something of the sort. Just something to give me some more damage on Gas Grenade. Because obviously I'm not killing enemies, and this is a big portion of my single target damage. The big reason why Gas Grenade is being used as single target is because Gas Grenades, here you can see, they overlap significantly more than Explosive Grenades do. Explosive Grenades bounce around all over the place. They take, like, they have all these things with them, but Gas Grenades are a lot better at overlapping. So they're a lot better for single target damage. It's one of the reasons why they deal less damage, and why they're bad for the Mortar Cannon is because the Mortar Cannon just shoots shit all over the place like an idiot, right? So we manually use the Gas Grenades, and the Mortar Cannon uses our Explosive Grenades to detonate them. Then we have Cluster Grenades. This is just something I randomly throw at sometimes. It's some good AoE clear. It's a bit whatever, right? Voltaic Grenade is to just get some electrocution and just another grenade to throw out, right? Gas Grenade is not always going to be off cooldown, especially with payload. So having these grenades in combination, as well as with a passive point, gives me some more damage as well. Thing is for my Ascension. For my Ascension, I'm using Suppressing Fire for mobilization, and where we want them for pin. Solid Plan for reservation efficiency, basically. Lets me run more auras. And I've probably got Alchemist's Boon for a time of need when I need more, when I don't need more mana. And Polish that gear basically just for the ailment threshold because I'm pure evasion. I actually think that this build might be better on a different Ascendency than Tactician, but it ends up working just fine for now because of the pin node having so much value, right? But if you think about it in this way, this Ascendency is giving me no damage, giving this build no damage, and it's doing an absurd amount, right? I imagine this build on a Titan or, God forbid, a Deadeye, and it would probably be even more insane, right? So, next. Oh. Okay. So, I'm passing down through here because we want, obviously, of course, area effect and cooldown recovery rate. Very important stats on grenades, right? You do AoE, and you have cooldowns. These nodes over here, extremely overpowered. This is pretty well known for, I assume you were taking these already if you're playing this build. Enemies are intimidated, right? Very strong. Pretty standard pathing, some evasion, some grenades, right? This increased detonation time plus firing additional projectile we can still take with the short fuses because our mortar cannons serve as a detonator, right? Because you gotta remember that explosive grenade is a detonator skill, right? And then we get into, oh yeah, first of all, we take the ballista nodes down here, not these ones because they suck. Where are they at? Not these ones because they suck. Then we take this node over here is what I was talking about before. 4% of damage is extra fire for every different grenade. Pretty often we're firing 3 different grenades, so it's a good amount of damage extra, right, for just that. And then we're putting explosives, right? But the difference between my tree and a lot of other trees is I've kind of taken a page out of the Deadeye cookbook. The Deadeye cookbook, sorry, not cookbook. And I am spec'd into the companion nodes on the tree. So, the reason why I'm spec'd into these is twofold. First of all, evasion is very good. And a lot of the good evasion nodes on the tree are on this side of the tree. For example, this deflection node over here, plus 6% of deflected damage hit. This is definitely the next cluster I'm taking. Over here, you get 40% increased evasion while moving and a bunch of deflection, right? Like, these are really good nodes for evasion. And each one of these small companion nodes gives you 22% increased damage. It's fucking, like, it doesn't make any sense. So this is 88% increased damage for these 4 nodes. And then 4 more, another one, 4, 5, like, it's just so, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, these nodes as well, 35% increased attack damage when you have an ally in your presence. Same kind of deal. Yeah, so it's just so much damage, right? And if you really look at the nodes over here, you really cannot get that much increased damage for crossbows. Like, you have this cluster over here that gives you like 90% with 7 points. There's like the area damage. It's really like not that much from over here. Obviously, you can get some extra totem stuff, but the totem nodes are not that good. And like especially because you're using a bunch of different grenades, you don't want to use them, right? So overall, spec'd into the companion stuff, I think, is the move. There's movement speed stuff over here as well. It is going to be like, I'm probably going to end up respec'ing out of a bunch of this stuff and just taking a bunch of more movement speed as I continue. But okay, moving on. Jewels, we are using increased presence area of effect, totem life, and totem placement speed. Most important thing here is the totem placement speed. It is big QOL. We are not using the faster totem placement speed on our mortar cannons because that is not worth it for me. Like, I just don't want to do that. It feels fucking terrible. So 20%, 20%, 20%, 60% totem speed, or 57, whatever it is. I'm using this as an anoint right now because it wasn't super expensive. More pin build up, and it gives a bit of movement speed whenever I manually use my grenades. Movement speed's good, right? You could also use this over here. I didn't use it because its sufferings are expensive, and I'm not sure if I really want to for the 30%, but 30% totem placement speed does sound pretty nice still. You can see that by my gear, for my gloves, I am converting all of my fire damage to lightning damage, but I'm not spec'd into these nodes over here. They're good. They are good, but they're not absurdly good. Like, people think they're better than they are. We're not getting full value out of them with our damage range, but you'd still be getting decent value out of them. So yeah, maybe at some point I can spec over here. There's also the option of going into the armor break setup. I don't think the armor break setup is going to be very good until the very, very pinnacle of this build, where you use pin, this node, to break armor and make that armor break increase to 100% basically. I don't think that setup's going to be good till later, so for now I think this is the setup with the lightning damage, the companion nodes, the evasion, and speaking of that, actually I should go over my gear. So I have the lightning damage gloves. It converts fire to lightning. Very good. It's just like cheap. It's probably like the only reason we would ever switch to the armor break setup is so that we can use some like god tier gloves. But this is good for now because the lightning damage is just better than shock damage, or better than fire damage because it applies shock, and shock is just a more damage multiplier basically, right? Like, you obviously want to use shock. My crossbow is another important thing. So I'll go over my prefixes, I guess, first. You just want physical damage, and there is a desecrated prefix. It is +1 to ballista totems. Now, this is very good. but it's not as good as you might think, right? So you're going from 3 totems to 4 totems, so it's what, 33% increase or more damage if you have all 4 totems constantly working at a full efficiency, right? But having just more flat, it's almost that much damage. It's not that much damage, it's almost that much damage, right? It's like 20 to 25, it's like 25% more damage, right? Or so, maybe a little bit more than that, 25 to 30 instead of 33. But it works on my gas grenades, on my other grenades, right? Like, it's better all around. And yeah, I think at the pinnacle of it, you might use a weapon swap where you use, like, you actually do have 2 weapons, and one of them with that mod, one of them without that mod. But that's much later. Another thing is this essence. So, if you go to the currency exchange, many of you probably know about this, but Essence of Battle. This one adds or removes a rare item, a modified rare item with a guaranteed modifier. This is +6 level of attack skills. This is a suffix, so you craft your prefixes, boom, +6 level of attack skills. It's kind of broken. I'm not exactly sure how this is in the game, but I mean, I'm not going to complain. +6 levels of attack skills, and because we're using Mortar Cannon, that doesn't increase the mana of the Mortar Cannon, just our other grenades, which might be part of why I have mana issues, but also because of other reasons. But yeah, another thing to look at is our amulet, +1 limit. Pretty good, right? Like, if I'm not getting the limit from my crossbow in favor of more multiplicative, like, flat damage, then it's good to get it from here, right? Especially because the belt it gives life. It's obviously not good, but it's +1 limit is +1 limit. Otherwise, I'm using flat evasion gear basically when I can. So this is a flat evasion chestplate, deflection, pretty decent, not much life, but very high evasion rating. And this is a high flat evasion helmet, right? So flat evasion on the helmet and the chest, maybe some deflection. Boots care about 35 movement speed, and I'm using it to cap my resistances. This is chaos resistance and life, and some other resistances. You probably want to use a unique belt eventually when you get better rings, maybe ingenuity or darkness enthroned with the runes that give you movement speed for boots. It's like the one with 2 sockets, the new one they added. There's also rings. My rings are fucking ass. Like, they're actually just awful, but I haven't really need to upgrade them, so I haven't really focused on it, right? Yeah. As you can see, I actually have quite a bit of dex on my character. So if you look at my passive tree, all of my nodes are strength. Just for more HP, right? I have a couple of, like, 2 dex nodes here, and like an 8 node or 2 just for some support gems. But overall, I actually end up with a decent chunk of HP, for PvP standards at least, from just taking strength nodes. So yeah, that's the build. Overall, I think it's really strong, right? Like, the play pattern, you put down your things, you just keep running, right? Like, you boom, boom, and it fires the grenades, and you just keep going. And then you hit a rare monster, boom. You touch your shit down, it blows them up. It's really, really nice, right? It's just really satisfying. So, as you can see from the footage before. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the build. Let me know if you have any questions about it, or if you have any problems with it. It's obviously very important you have a good crossbow. It's important that you level up your companion skill, right? Because before you get this thingy, right? Because you do want your guy to not die. It's pretty important for that, right? So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good one.